That many of us who are present today, whenever we're having a bad day, we don't need much encouragement not to come. If your big toe bothering, you're not coming to church. If it's cold outside, you're not coming. If it mess around and get too hot, it's not coming. Heaven forbid you should go to the beauty shop on Saturday and it rains on Sunday. I know you're not coming. I wish I had somebody in the house. But this woman in the text says, I might be going through something, but what I'm going through will not rob me of an opportunity to worship God. And I'm afraid there are too many of us who allow the trials and tribulations of this life to rob us of our worship. I wish I had somebody. Listen, this woman in the text suggests that you've got to do one thing. You've got to make up in your mind. You've got to get it down in your spirit that you will not be denied. You will not turn your back on it. You will never give up your right to worship God, because you understand worship has nothing to do with what you're going through. Worship has nothing to do with what you're dealing with. Worship has nothing to do with what you're trying to get from God. Then what does it have to do, David? I worship God just because God is God. And God is God whether I'm sick or well. God is God whether I'm broke or I'm a baller. God is God whether I got it or I'm doing without. God is God whether I'm young, old, or up in age. God is God whether I'm married, single, or divorced. And since I know God is God, I'm waking up every day saying, this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad. You've got to come to a place. You've got to come to a place in your faith walk where what you know about God overrides what your situation says about God. Did you hear what I said? What you know about God has to override what your situation says about God. Your situation says God can't do it, but you've got evidence that God's done it before. The doctor said it can't be here, but you've got evidence that God's done it before. Your money say you can't pay it, but you've got evidence that God's done it before. Is there anybody that knows anything about God? Listen. And I don't believe in preaching no false gospel. Listen, I know there are at least 25 of y'all in here who dealt with enough this week where you didn't feel like coming to church. I mean, you dealt with enough hell yesterday that you could come up in here, fold your arms, grit your teeth, complain about how hard it's been. But I wish I had somebody. I said, you had enough hell yesterday to make you throw in the towel. But since God is the same yesterday, today, and forever, since God is the same God that woke you up this morning, started you on your way, gave you a reasonable portion of health and strength, clothed you in your right mind, since you know God is still God, when your foot hit the floor, you declared, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall be in my mouth. This woman, she don't ask for anything, y'all. She just decided to keep coming to church. Did you hear what I said? She didn't come with her hand stuck out. She didn't come in there begging and pleading, Lord, I need, Lord, I want, Lord, I got to have hookers and stuff. None of that. She just kept coming to church. And watch this. Let you know a little secret. And that's why the devil is mad at about 50 of y'all. Because you keep coming to church. See, he thought he'd put a condition on you that would keep you from coming. He thought if he raised enough hell in your life, you just stay at home, close the blinds, take the phone off the hook, and say, I'll catch him next Sunday. But just like the woman in the text, you press your way. I wish I had somebody. But now watch this. The text says, watch this, that not only did she come, Pat, but she had to put forth some effort in coming. You see, the Bible said that she was dealing with something, y'all. Now, see, she wasn't dealing with that stuff that keep us from coming to church. She wasn't dealing with a run in her only pair of brown pantyhose. No. Look, it wasn't the fact that she could not match her purse and her hat. I wish I had somebody. No. See, it was not that somebody forgot to go by the cleaners and they had closed and you couldn't get your favorite outfit, so you would, I wish I had somebody in here. No. The text says that this woman was bent over, that she was dealing with a spirit of infirmity. Now, when you look at that thing in the original Greek, what it says is, when she's dealing with a spirit of infirmity, that lets us know that primarily this was not just a physical sickness, but rather this woman was dealing with a demonic attack that had manifested itself in physical sickness. You do know some of the stuff you deal with is demonic, don't you? You do know every pain you deal with, it ain't because you owe, it's because the devil is raising hell. Everything you go through is a demonic attack. Look at your neighbor and say, I knew it was the devil. I wish I had somebody. Which means, watch this now, watch this now, which means, watch this, that the devil has done something to her. And she's been dealing with this thing for so long, is that it has now manifested itself in a physical problem. But she kept coming to church. I wish I had somebody. Tell your neighbor there's a blessing in coming to church. Now watch this, now watch this, now watch this now. I need you to understand. There is a difference between living with the condition and letting the condition take your life. Did you hear what I said? There's a difference between living with a thing and letting a thing take your life. Stick with me now. See, there is a faith. There is a level of faith, you all, that will refuse to quit. Refuse to lay down and die. I wish I had somebody. There is a level of faith that says no matter how many times you knock me down, I'm getting up again. No matter how many changes you take me through, I'm still going to bless my God. No matter how much hell you raise, I'm still going to bless the name of God. Now watch this. Now see, I'm trying to help somebody now. Now this is not the time to say, amen, just look, amen, the folk will know I'm in your business. Because there is somebody in this room today that's dealing with the same situation as this woman. Now, I'm not suggesting that you're necessarily bent over, but you're dealing with something that happened a long time ago, and you're still dealing with it. Because whatever has this woman been over, it happened 18 years ago, and she's still dealing with it. Watch this now. She's got a problem from her past that's messing with her present. I wish I had somebody. She's been over listing, which means her life has been out of shape. Which means, watch this now, not only could she not stand up straight, but the text suggests she also couldn't see straight. I wish I had somebody. Because see, whenever you can't stand up straight, it's impossible for you to see straight. But she's still at church. Now watch this now, watch this now. If she's been over now, she's been over. Every time she walks, she's walking with her head down. Now watch this. Oftentimes, we like to shout about what God has ahead of us and in store for us and what our destiny is. Please don't miss this. But you need to understand, you can talk about what's ahead of you, but when the devil starts messing with you and bend you over, he will fix it so you will be unable to see what's in front of you. All you can see is right. I wish I had somebody. All you can see right. See, there's some of you in here, the reason you're quiet right now is because everybody else is shouting about what's down the road, but all you can see is what you're dealing with right now. All you can see is what you're going through right now. And watch this now, understand. Now, depending upon where you are, it's all right to be bent down. See, if I'm strolling through the botanical gardens of Memphis, it's all right to be bent down, Daryl. Because, see, all I see are pretty flowers and nicely cut paths and all of that kind of good stuff. But when the text was written, you have to understand, they had no botanical garden. They didn't even have asphalt and concrete. Everywhere this woman went, all she could see was dirt, dust, and old dusty feet. I wish I had somebody. And you do recognize that if you're not careful, after a while, what you see affects how you think. And how you think will affect what you do. I wish I had somebody. That's the reason some of us are not doing the doing we ought to be doing, because we ain't viewing the view we ought to be viewing. I wish I had somebody. I can't get no help in here, because after a while, what you see begins to affect what you do. So here she is. All she can see, all she can focus on is dirt. But she kept coming to church. I wish I had somebody. Listen. Now, here's my advice. Here's my advice to somebody. I don't care how bent out of shape your life is. I don't care how difficult it may be. You need to keep coming to church. No matter how rough things are, you need to keep coming to church. No matter how difficult it is, you need to. Davis, why do I need to keep coming to church? Well, it's right here in the text. Because if you keep coming to church, one Sunday you're going to show up and Jesus is going to be the guest preacher. I wish I had somebody. Is there anybody thankful that if you keep showing up, Jesus will meet you here on one of them days? Look at your neighbor and say, this might be the Sunday.